and Val Sweeting, both 6-0, Ontario and Northern Ontario, both 3-3. You're listening to the home of Leafs Nation, Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
This is Today at 1.
You're listening to Brady Walker on Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
6:43, Brady and Walker. It's Andrew Walker, it's Greg Brady. Coming up, we have the official over-under win totals for teams in the American League, including the Toronto Blue Jays. And it is a fascinating debate, we're having it off air, of how that AL East stacks up, because it's really, well, I mean, what we don't know about these teams far outweighs what we know.
And no one likes anybody a lot. There's no team that's got an over-under of 90-plus wins per se. A couple other teams, you know, the Angels are I think, what do I see, about 92 and a half.
Tampa's not winning anything. Tampa's not winning anything, but everyone else in the AL East, you could make an argument that they will win the division.
Yeah, and people felt a lot better about Boston last year. They were the defending World Series champions, and it all went well for them. And you just didn't see half the things with the Red Sox coming that did. You know, trading John Lester, not being able to re-sign him, lots of injuries throughout. How much they missed Jacoby Ellsbury. There were a lot of issues with the Boston Red Sox. And that brings us to Pablo Sandoval, who. How do we say, footage? He's down there already in Winter Haven, and he's prepping for his new job. He's a two-time World Series winner with the San Francisco Giants, and he's always had a lot of punch to him. He's not called
They call him Fat Panda, like he's
Kung Fu Panda. Yeah,
Kung Fu Panda. What? Fat Panda. Kung Fu Panda.
Well, Kung Fu Panda is fat. There's no question about that.
Yes, he's always been bigger. There's this picture that's circulating, though. He's standing at third base, taking some ground balls, and he looks quite large.
I'm bigger than you. I'm higher in the food chain. Get in my belly.
I mean, but does he look that much bigger? He looks like a fat guy playing softball.
But that's what he looks like in the World Series when he's hitting 3 home runs off Justin Verlander. That's what he looks like.
To me, he looks fatter in this picture.
Okay, but how much fatter? It's like when you don't see somebody at work for a couple weeks and you go, no, you're the same size. You're wondering, have you lost? No, you're the exact same size. I'm not sure he's any bigger or any smaller.
That picture, come on, it looks photoshopped.
Is he sticking his belly out? You know, well, that's the thing.
Yes, and you can't tell everything. You can't tell everything from
he's in the foreground. There's 2 other skinny guys in the background.
It's like,
hey, don't stand him next to a 165-pound, 5'11" guy.
I will say this, though.
I don't want to stand next to those
This
guys.
isn't the first time there's been a picture like this. To remember in the preseason of last year, the Green Bay Packers drafted Eddie Lacy in the 3rd round. There's a picture from Packers minicamp, and Eddie Lacy looks like Jiminy Glick. You're like, oh my God, what are you doing to your... Who is this guy? He's so fat. And it was just a bad picture, because Eddie Lacy turned out to be, well, he's a bigger guy. He turned out to be a beast.
But I'm looking at, I'll slide my computer around. Look at this picture of Pablo Sandoval at bat in spring training for San Francisco 2 years ago.
He looks thick, he looks barrel-chested, but he doesn't look like...
He's got an ass the size of an elevator. So he looks just absolutely
That's a great picture to compare, because in this picture...
I don't think he's any bigger.
Oh, yes, he is.
Look at the size of him. Maybe it's white pants. This is why I don't wear white pants before I've lost my winter weight.
We'll post this picture on our Twitter account. I just know that there's Red Sox fans out there thinking, oh God, like we just gave $100 million to a guy that is a great ball player, but has conditioning issues. Like, billion pounds and it caught up to him, right?
It does catch up to you over time. You wonder about Prince Fielder. Prince Fielder's no beacon of health and fortitude, though he lost weight going to Texas last year and got injured. He showed up looking smaller than he ever did with Detroit and Milwaukee.
And he's a vegan. Like, how are you that size if you're a vegan? Like, are you eating nothing but
a lot of artichokes?
Gummies in the meantime?
Today, a ton of artichokes. By the way, before we do best and worst, we got to look at the ratings for the NBA All-Star game in the States. Got dwarfed by bad luck, because usually on Sunday night in February, it's nothing on but these things. networks are smart enough not to go. They don't want to go against NFL playoff games.
If you're Adam Silver, you're counting on Saturday Night Live to be, I don't know, on Saturday.
Maybe. And not 3.5 hours. Not bringing back Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy and everybody they brought back. So NBC got a 14-point rating versus a 5.5 for the All-Star game. They had almost 3 times as many viewers. I mean, we have 3 times as many listeners as other shows. I can't imagine 3 times as many viewers when your whole marquee event is one night and you're supposed to be there. It's not a Monday to Friday grind.
I mean, you didn't watch either, right? Because you were at
I was driving back.
Yes, it was. Did I do a little flipping? Sure, I did. I clicked over when there was something that wasn't overly funny on the SNL thing. But I mean, listen, if you're watching the NBA All-Star game over that Saturday Night Live special, it's ridiculous.
The SNL show is NBC's most watched primetime program in total viewers in almost 11 years. That night's ER, I call it emergency room.
Right.
Had 23.9 million viewers on the same night as the Frasier finale.
Oh, wow.
Like, what are we talking about? 11 years ago.
What did the Seinfeld finale get?
That was 98. I have no idea, but that feels like it was closer to 70 million people watching, right? Not 23 million.
6:49. Let's do best and worst from last night.
Best
Brian Leach.
and worst
Brian Elliott.
with Brady and Walker.
Elliott's a pretty good player. Leach he's not as good as Brian Leach, though. That's accurate. I'll take best win. I'm going to give it to the Washington Capitals last night. This is a club that, I mean, there's a lot of teams. I think the playoffs are going to be so even this year. There's a lot of teams that have a lot going right for them right now. The Rangers are one of them. The Capitals are one of them. The Preds are one of them. And these aren't the classic teams that we look at Pittsburgh and Boston and Chicago, and everyone picks those teams to win a cup. There's a lot of teams this year. I know Washington's sitting at 7th. I like the way they look right now. They've won 2 in a row. And Alexander Ovechkin, boy, he's running over guys. He's scoring goals. 37th last night in assists. That's a quality win for the Caps over Crosby.
Do you buy if you're trading Kessel, if you're on the trade Kessel, is Ovechkin a cautionary tale? Well, he's harder to trade, contract and all the other stuff. But everybody was in on Alex
So think Ovechkin's harder to trade than Kessel?
I think he would have been with the contract at some point in time. Yeah, I absolutely believe that 2 or 3 years ago. That's a huge ticket. A lot of teams couldn't have afforded maybe $9.5 million.
Maybe after the year where Ovechkin scored 30 or whatever.
But I guess what I'm saying is there's a coach killer, selfish player. How do we motivate? Are you kidding me? So before you go in too deep on Phil Kessel,